Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at property address 320 Patricia Drive here in Gladstone. Located inside the house in the basement bathroom. This is kind of a lucky find. I rarely get this lucky. Underneath the vanity down here is a clean out access. It's in the same room as the laundry. Anyway, 3-inch ABS clean out. Drop in here and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water's running, or we will have water running here in a moment. Alright, we're zeroed out just at the base of that. You wind in there. Hoping this will let us run some water here. Alright, cool. Or my foot counter was being weird there at first. Alright, this went through some standing water there. We will look at that on the way out when the line's fully drained. Anytime you have running water in conjunction with a bellied area, it's always going to be exaggerated to an extent. Alright, here's where we're tying in with the some cast iron. The ABS, just based on the year this is, I've been doing this 13 years. I've cambered almost 25,000 sewer lines. Generally speaking, you're going to would have cast iron in here originally. So this would appear to have had some updates done to it. Unfortunately, that does not always mean it's going to look perfect. But we'll check that area out as we come back in here and see how it looks drained out. And especially when they're close in like that, where the water is at its tightest, where it's just a larger, taller water line at that point. It can exaggerate things a bit, but we'll see. Alright, getting down, looks like now to the base of the driveway. I did notice it looked kind of like there was a repair patch out there. Swapping over here to 4-inch 3034 PVC. Now into concrete. That looks like where that patch is at the base of the driveway, I'm guessing. This line has got some killer slope and grade to it. This is a very steep property. And that is always ideal. Anytime the property provides natural slope and grade, your likelihood of getting a belly, at least in this part of the property, is almost impossible. It's the flatter parts where you have that potential, like we saw during the start. So there's the main there at 80 feet. I'm going to go locate that really quick here while the line drains off. And then we'll pull back and have a better look at everything. Even the bellied area doesn't show any signs of having any broken pipe or anything like that. The whole line here looks like it's intact, and the older pipe materials look pretty darn good too. So we shall see here as we come back. Alrighty, located the camera head. In fact, if you come here sometime in the next year or so, I'm sure the paint will still be there. You can see the big T marking out in the street. And I describe everything as if you're facing the front of the house from the road. So we originate again here at the basement bathroom, right at the base of the staircase. The line then jaunts into the garage, gets about 3/4 or more away, almost to the far right side, and then turns and straightens out and shoots down the driveway, down that right side panel, about down the middle of that part of the driveway there. You've got a couple patches out there that kind of clue you into where the line's at, in case you're curious. That's had a couple different spot repairs done. I'm actually curious what kind of issues were going on at that point in time that they fixed parts and pieces of it. That bellied area, that may have been part of that same repair for all I know. It's hard to say though. I'm not seeing obvious patchwork for the start of the line where the belly is though. And And so as it relates to standing water, apologize if I'm repeating myself here. I've been doing this for 13 years. I've cambered almost 25,000 sewer lines, done a lot of drain cleaning. Bellies present a higher likelihood for blockages. They do not guarantee it, but they do make it more likely. This little bit of standing water here, this is absolutely just rinky-dink. It's way the heck out from the house to begin with, but it's a belly I hardly even talk about it, even if it was up close to the house. I'll notate it on the report. It gets out to about 56 feet. And I believe it starts about 53. So that right there is not even holding quite 1/4 of an inch of standing water. I'm going to call it between a 1/16 and 1/4. It's somewhere in that ballpark. You would have to be flushing outrageous things down your line to clog up an area like that. And I mean stuff that was clogged long before it made it there. And it's quite a clean sewer line. And that bit out there looks like it was very recently done. The pipe there is still shiny. Like it's hardly even seen any amount of usage. Once pipe's been around a little while, it develops kind of a mildew film and a water stains, mineral deposits and stuff. All right, all the ABS there and 3034, as well as the concrete beyond that, all of it's in good shape and or in good condition for its age. Concrete out there has aged quite nicely. It's still very straight and true. Flows very nice. Cast iron here too has aged quite well. No channeling hardly whatsoever. There is just the ever so slightest little tiny bit of a groove there in the flow line. That sometimes is created just from the camera going through and scraping a little bit of debris out of the flow line. I can't even really call that even the beginning stages of channeling, which is kind of the end result of all cast iron if it exists for long enough. Eventually the bottom of the pipe will wear out. But you start getting a trough that forms in the flow line long before that happens. It's very obvious. Come back in here and see what we had going on with the standing water. Okay, so this here is dissipating out at about 9 feet. We go nice and slow to not move the water around too much. We'll let things settle in. So right now we're sitting at about, the water settle into place here. You're not quite at 1 inch there. You're right around it at this point. Now I'm going to go locate this. I have a sneaking suspicion. I'm going to see where this is at. You know, so as it relates to when I start recommending repairs on bellies is once I've got at least a 5-foot section of pipe with at least 1 inch of water, and generally speaking, I'm only doing that when it's close proximity to the home. And this is indeed that. It's within the footprint of the house. So, like I was saying before, it does not guarantee blockages will occur, but it does make it more likely. I describe bellies like hitting the pool at the bottom of the water slide. You come to a stop pretty darn fast. By design. And that's kind of what happens with solids as it moves through standing water. Although it does depend on where that water's coming from. Stuff coming from upstairs, second story drop, is moving with some oomph. And usually you're not going to see much happening there. It would be the bottom floor area that would be at more higher risk just because you don't have that same amount of gravity behind everything. But there is some level of buildup here. I'm not seeing much in the way of blockage evidence from the past. Otherwise, I would expect to see thick buildup up the sidewalls as well as the top of the pipe. You've got a little bit of grease buildup on the sidewalls there. You can see at the water line. Grease is not something I use as a metric to gauge how a pipe imperfection is causing flow issues. It's an improper substance. It should not go down your line. And it'll build up anywhere, but especially does so at standing water areas. And the belly actually gets out here close to about 10 feet. But I'm going to go see where this is at here All right, so I can tell someone else has located this before. There's both a white paint dot on the floor as well as an orange piece of tape. Almost like two different people looked at it. It's extremely shallow. You're at 8 inches deep there. It's so shallow it's almost hard to locate. The locator is so sensitive. And then we're going to see what this goes back underneath. I don't know if it was avoided because the line goes under the furnace, but it might. All right, actually, now that I'm getting closer to this thing, it looks like it was marked going all the way back here. I'm seeing some more orange tape on the ground. All right, so that orange tape, my locate, I'm going to send a picture. I don't have anything to mark the floor with. I'm glad the markings are already there. You'll see some orange tape on the floor. My locate at the end there is a little bit off from where that orange tape is at. Although that may have been done when there was some more stuff in the garage and it was left as a reference. I'm picking mine up just barely skirting past some of the furnace equipment there. But you'll see on the picture with the orange, that's what I'm going to recommend you relocate. I'm leaving those down on the ground there as a reference only. It's very, very shallow. So I'm not sure if that was not messed with there at one point because of its proximity to the furnace. Much of it is away from the furnace, but hey, I'm not sure about that one. But that one reaches my threshold for recommending a repair on the line. After any repairs are done, it's very important to rescope, and you want to do that when the trench is closed. If you scope a line like this when the trench is still open, you're not going to catch settling problems like you have right there. So make sure it's compacted, ready for concrete to be poured. Scope it, make sure it looks good before you do that. If repairs are not done, treat the line nicely, treat it like a septic system. Folded toilet paper is ideal, not balled up, no wipes, paper towels, flushable wipes, grease, stuff you know shouldn't go down the line. You want it to be easy to disintegrate items that go through the line there. Otherwise, the rest of the line here is in good condition, has good flow, and is functioning properly at this time. Overall, it is functioning but draining slower due to the belly in the line there.